Do you struggle with starting, stopping, or switching between tasks? Then you may have autistic inertia. Join me in breaking down what autistic inertia is and strategies you can try to overcome your experiences with autistic inertia. Hey, define yourself first. I am the confident autistic, an autistic adult, late diagnosed, a multi certified life coach who is on a mission to empower you to embrace autism confidently. So, what is autistic inertia? Autistic inertia is a term used to describe the difficulty that some people with autism spectrum disorder have in starting, stopping, or switching between tasks. Autistic inertia is a neurological issue that affects executive functioning, which is the ability to plan, focus, and multitask. Autistic inertia is often tied to indecisiveness, anxiety, which, let's be honest, anxiety is very common for many of us autistic adults who are on the spectrum, and that includes me. Autistic inertia is often also tied with rigidity and a need for perfection. So, if you're a perfectionist, some of us on the spectrum are, then you probably may fall into the category of experiencing some autistic inertia in your everyday life. Now, autistic inertia shares traits with ADHD and executive dysfunction. Autistic inertia may cause you to struggle to start a task. However, when started, autistic inertia may help you hyper focus on that task for hours. So this is a lot of, you could say a lot of negatives to autistic inertia, but that's a positive. The inertia, once you get going, bam, you don't want to stop. That could be a good thing. As long as it does not get carried away and you don't sleep for 3 days and you forget to eat and all that other stuff, it can be a good thing. I guess everything has a good side and a bad side, right? That's what I'm thinking here. So if you have autistic inertia, interruptions can be very problematic for you. Interruptions can lead to an emotional outburst and or an interruption when you're battling or experiencing an autistic inertia may make it difficult to start the task again. So you get interrupted, you have to take a break, whatever. Now I'm going to go back to my task. I lost my momentum. I I I, I don't have the inertia, the energy to do it, and I need to get that back. This is why it's really crucial for many of us, once we start something, not to be interrupted. I know personally, when I'm in the middle of doing something, I do not like being interrupted at all. I wanted to see it through, and it's very difficult for me. And I get really, I have, I guess you could say emotional outbursts. Cause I'll yell at people and snap at people and say things I really don't mean, but they're mean and hurtful because I don't want to be interrupted. That's just me. Everyone has their own experiences of autism. I'm just sharing mine with you. Now, an autistic inertia can cause you to experience a feeling of being stuck and a feeling that you are unable to move on from one task to another. Now, what does autistic inertia look like? Well, autistic inertia would look like getting stuck on a repetitive behavior, which I guess you could say, when you're stemming, I like stemming. I like playing with this little ball that I have back and forth, and I just don't want to stop it and go and do something else. That could be an example of autistic inertia interfering with my life. Autistic inertia may look like you are having trouble transitioning between tasks. Transitions can be very difficult for many of us on the spectrum, and experiencing autistic inertia does not make those transitions any easier. Autistic inertia can look like freezing up in a new situation because you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going on. And you're comfortable where you were. Everything changed. You're in a new situation. You just don't know what to do with yourself. And you're just freezing up. Like, what do I do here? Autistic inertia can also look like becoming agitated, anxious, or overwhelmed. Now, whether it's autistic inertia or not, I have these kind of emotions all the time. Maybe I have a really bad case of autistic inertia. I don't know. But I get agitated really easily. I'm anxious probably 23 out of 24 hours a day, and I often feel overwhelmed in situations. But again, that's just me. Autistic inertia can also look like you are struggling to get dressed or to brush your teeth. That's one perfect example that you wake up in the morning, it's like, I don't want to get going. And a lot of people think, just get some coffee. And if you're going to get coffee and you buy it at Starbucks, I got a little financial saving tip. You can make coffee at home. Now, if you're a barista at Starbucks, I know that's a scary sentence, but here's the thing. You can make coffee at home. But it could be more than just needing caffeine. You just may not have the momentum or the desire or the interest. And you start to struggle with, I know I got to get dressed. I don't want to. I'll do this later. Or brushing your teeth. I don't want to take too much time. I don't want to do that. Or I don't want to brush my teeth because the toothpaste feels funny. Whatever. And that example right there demonstrates that you're struggling brushing your teeth could be autistic inertia, could be a sensory issue, could be both. And autistic inertia can look like it is for you that you're finding it hard to stop playing a video game to do another task. A lot of people on the spectrum may be gamers. I'm not a big gamer, but others that are on the spectrum may be, and no judgment here. But having to stop playing a video game to go and do something else, like pick up the kids from school, or get the laundry out of the washing machine, put it into the dryer, whatever it is, you just don't want to stop and do that. Now, some people may think, well, you're addicted to that video game, but it could also be that you have autistic inertia. Now, if you experience autistic inertia and someone tells you to take a big task, because that what could throw us at times with this big task, and it seems overwhelming to us. And if we experience autistic inertia and someone says to take that big task and break it down into smaller tasks, that is often not going to help you or me, because breaking tasks into individual steps will feel impossible when we are experiencing autistic inertia. Some better strategies to help you and me combat autistic inertia include establishing routines. Now, establishing routines helps with autistic inertia by providing predictability and structure in our lives. Routines reduces the cognitive load associated with transitioning between tasks. Now, establishing routines also helps it become easier for autistic persons like you and me to initiate activities and move between them with less anxiety and feelings of being overwhelmed. Now, ultimately, routines mitigate the stuck feeling of inertia. Essentially, consistent routines offer a sense of control and security, allowing us who are experiencing autistic inertia to anticipate what comes next and better prepare for the changes that are coming our way or that we must go through as we transition from one activity to another. Now, visual aids are another way that you could help combat your autistic inertia. Visual aids like visual schedules can significantly help with autistic inertia because visual aids can provide a clear visual representation of upcoming tasks and activities, which reduces our anxiety and confusion around transitions. Visual aids make it easier for us to initiate actions and move between activities with less resistance. Visual aids offer predictability and structure that can alleviate the stuck feeling associated with autistic inertia. Managing stress can significantly help with autistic inertia in adults because stress is a major trigger for autistic inertia. Inherently, our stress levels rise from the difficulty we encounter in initiating tasks and transitioning between activities. Because when we know we're going to be changing tasks or changing activities, I know for myself, there's always stress because now I'm going to something different. It's going to have different routines, different protocols. I don't know what to expect. I'm feeling stressed out. And, when we have to transition or initiate tasks or transition between activities, they are core aspects of autistic inertia when you combine that with stress. Now, by actively reducing our stress, we can experience less autistic inertia and find it easier to start and complete tasks. Like I said, one of the things that kind of trips us up, if we're going to make a change in what we're doing, right? That causes us stress because everything's been changing on us. That causes us stress. So if we learn how to cope with our stress and manage our stress, these transitions will be less stressful for us and we'll be more likely to smoothly transition from one to another. Most importantly, when you're experiencing autistic inertia, you should be patient with yourself. That means you should be sure to provide yourself with strategic support and accommodations that recognize the extra time and effort you will need to transition or start a new task. This is important. We sometimes are very hard on ourselves because we're comparing ourselves to other people, maybe other people on the spectrum, maybe autistics, maybe both, and we're thinking, well, they don't have trouble transitioning. I shouldn't either, and I got to push right on through it. And we do want to push through. We don't want to, say, "Oh, I can't do it," and let it win. We don't want to do that. But we need to also give ourselves the patience and the grace to know this is going to be a little bit more challenging for me, but I can get through this. I have that confidence to do that because I'm a confident person. And when you develop these strategies, you realize, okay, I know I have an autistic inertia. I know that blah, blah, blah is a challenge for me, maybe a stress, whatever, right? And I know these are some strategies I've used before that's helped me reduce my stress when I'm going to start a new task or when I'm going to have to transition. And then you implement those strategies that you have fine tuned and honed over the years so you can make autistic inertia not a major obstacle that holds you back, but a challenge you can take on, overcome, and thrive as an autistic adult. In conclusion, I'd like you to remember this, that autistic inertia is not a sign of laziness, nor is it a sign of stubbornness. Some people may think, oh, he don't want to do that, he's lazy or he's stubborn. It could be autistic inertia. Give yourself a break because autistic inertia is a neurodiversity that can impact daily life. That's something you have to remember. You're not bad. You're not defective. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not lazy. You're not stubborn. You have autistic inertia. And once you can identify that's a part of you, and you may need to get a diagnosis from a qualified clinician that's familiar with autism, that's fine, whatever it takes. Or you can self identify. No harm in saying, I know I have a problem and I'm going to find ways to take on this challenge and overcome it. That is an important part of building your self confidence as an autistic adult. Now it's your turn. Share in the comments on this video if you battle with autistic inertia. How does it challenge you? And what strategies do you have that has helped you overcome the challenge of autistic inertia in your life? Or if you have any other questions about autistic inertia, ask those in the comments as well. May not be able to respond to every single comment, but rest assured, I do read each and every one of them, and I really do appreciate your participation on this channel. Now, if you're looking for other great resources like our Facebook group, Autistic Adults Embracing Autism, or a free gift of 31 affirmations for the autistic adult, Check out the video description because in the section marked resource links, I have links and directions for all that fun stuff and more. So until next time, this is Chris Mitchell, aka The Confident Autistic, reminding you that today is the day that you should begin to embrace autism confidently. Join me live Thursday nights for The Confident Autistic Live, where I answer your questions, we discuss this week's videos, offer support, and more. The fun starts Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time in the US of A. Be sure to click the bell when you subscribe to the channel to be notified when the party begins.